Hello, thank you for tuning in. This is Stuart, the Unrepentant Atheist. So we've got the line here, recent episode, 13th of March, 2024. Larry's calling in from Ecuador to say that he can communicate with God, and if only Matt will give him 10 minutes, he can explain to him how it works. Well, Matt's ruled that out. No, you can't have 10 minutes, but you can talk. So let's hear what happens.
But if you absolutely need 10
Please.
minutes, but it says here, you have a way to communicate with God. Does your way to communicate with God have God actually communicating back? Because I can talk to God and ghosts. I just can't get them to talk back.
It's a communication with frequencies that give me a sense of knowledge. So through these frequencies, I can get an understanding of what this is trying to teach me, or an understanding of what the message is about.
Yeah. None of that made any sense to me. When I communicate, like when Daryl and I communicate,
Yes, sir.
there's nothing about frequencies. I just talk to Daryl and Daryl talks to me. Can God do that?
Yes, sir. It's
Okay.
not through voice, but it is through vibrational states. And it's like a vibrational emotional states. Yeah.
Vibrational emotional states.
Visions.
Hang on. Just ask the questions that I'm answer the questions I'm asking. So when Daryl talks to me, there are ways that I can confirm that it's Daryl. If you're getting communications from God through vibrations, how can you confirm it's God?
Well, quite, because it could be aliens. It could be aliens. And it might not be a god. Aliens may have some kind of technology, or even humans may have some kind of technology which can generate these vibrations that make you think that you're in touch with the whole, or in touch with God, or some kind of supernatural power. So yeah, absolutely. Unless you're able to communicate, which for human beings on the highest level, on the most sophisticated level, is via language. I don't really see how, unless somebody could tell me how, vibrations could actually inform you about the identity of who is actually sending the vibrations.
So there is a specific vibrational state that you can get into where you know that it is.
How do you know that?
There's several times that I've been able to astral plane. There's been 3 different occasions.
Okay, yeah, so the astral plane, I believe that it's the place that spirits, a place inhabited by spirits. If you accept that there is a soul, this is the place where souls go. I'm not sure if it's a sort of halfway house in between death and the ultimate spirit world. But I've looked into spiritualism in the past, and there are these different planes of existence, all at different vibrational levels, which we're generally not aware of, but apparently which he's claiming that he can tap into this somehow and go there, I think. But let's listen to more.
I learned how to be able to do it. But on those 3 occasions
That's
that I was able
not
to
an
do
answer.
it, I was shown.
I'm asking you. No, you're babbling on about stuff that's never been demonstrated. And I asked how you know it's God, and you said there's several. Are you going to keep trying to talk over me? Because that's never.
Yeah, I mean, what he's saying is really nothing too different, essentially, in principle, from me saying, oh, last night I closed my eyes, I meditated, I was able to leave my body, I went to heaven, I met Jesus, I saw Jesus there, I saw the holes in his hands, and I've come back, and I can confirm Jesus does exist, he's the savior, and the resurrection happened. It's nothing different from that. I can't demonstrate that, only my own testimony, and he can't demonstrate anything about what he's saying.
It's going to fucking work for you, and you should know that by now.
No, sir, I'm trying to add to it. I'm not trying to talk over you. I'm sorry.
Then you don't need to say anything right now. You don't need to say anything right now. I'm trying to explain. I'm trying to figure out how to tell the difference between somebody who thinks they're talking with God and someone who we can actually confirm is talking with God. Do you have a independently verifiable mechanism that Daryl and I can each use to tell whether you're in the category of people who are communicating with God or the category of people who think they're communicating with God but can't prove it?
I can show you how you can communicate with God, and when you are able to do that, you will understand and you will see.
That is a no, then. So the answer to my question
you will
was
see,
no.
you will understand.
No, The answer to my
This is very, very similar to the gentleman who called from India several weeks ago and said, Matt, if you come to me, I will massage you for 3 months, and then you will feel you will see God finally. And he's saying the same thing. He's going to tell Matt what to do, and then Matt will be able to communicate with God himself. Well, sounds like a kind of good offer, but particularly with the massage thing, he would have to travel all the way to India. But if it could somehow be packaged in such a way that Matt could try this thing efficiently, maybe that would be worth trying. But I don't think Matt's going to be that interested.
my question, it was a no. You're just not willing to actually say it.
No, I'm not. Maybe I don't understand correctly then. But
I'll try it
from what I
again.
do understand,
Try it again. Listen. There are people who think you don't need to tell me you're fucking listening. Every time you open your mouth after I say just listen, you're no longer just listening. There are people who think they're communicating with God and getting messages from God, and some of them are wrong, correct?
correct. I agree with you.
Okay, my position there would be that of all the people who claim to be communicating with God, some may be wrong. As for whether any are wrong, I don't know. And as for whether any are right, I also don't know that. So I would not have answered correct to that. I would have said, I don't know. But let's keep going.
I agree with you.
Whether or not some of them are also right, I don't know. What I asked is, do you have an independently verifiable mechanism that would allow myself and Daryl to tell whether you are in the category of people who are wrong about talking with God or the category of people who are right about talking with God? That's a yes or no question. Do you have an independently verifiable mechanism that Daryl and I can use to tell whether or not you're actually talking to God?
Gotcha. I don't know for sure if there's a verifiable way. If somebody was to tell me that they talk with God, such as myself, they said that they received some answers, I'd have to listen to what they had to say and find out, is it something that was supposed to there's kind of a checklist I would kind of have as well.
So that's
but
a no.
I wouldn't know for certain. Yeah,
So
So let me get this straight. He's got a checklist whereby if he simply interviews somebody who claims that they've communicated with God, he can check off a certain number of points, say, right, okay, yep. So there are 20 on the checklist, and he's got the minimum number, 15. You obviously communicated with God. The minimum threshold is 12. You've nailed it. So, wow, I'm impressed.
it's a no.
I wouldn't know for certain.
Cool. So when I said the answer was no, I was right. And then we went through it all again and got another no.
Correct.
Until the answer is yes, I don't
question.
need until the answer is yes, I don't need to hear anything from you.
Sir, can I explain something that I think will get us to a level of agreement where I can explain to you how you can get to that state where you can talk to God?
It's probably some kind of meditation, I guess.
You don't have an independently verifiable method for telling the difference between when someone is talking with God and when they're not, then you have nothing for me at all.
But I can teach you how you can talk to God, how you can reach that state, and how you can receive answers.
Larry, let's say I do what you tell me to do. How would I know I'm actually talking to God if there's not an independently fucking verifiable method of testing it?
Yeah, he's also said that it's not actually talking to God. He used the word communicating, but he's also now saying talking. It can't be talking because, as he said, the communication goes through vibrations. It doesn't go through verbal messages. So it's not through language. It's not in English or any other recognized language.
Because you would know by the vibrational state that you're in. You would know by what it's showing you.
No, Larry, that's not how any of this shit works. You're either delusional.
Yeah, but what's a reference point? What's the reference point of the vibrational state that you're in that determines that you are actually in communication with God? What's a reference point? How would you know? You would need some kind of standard reference that you could experience. Say, okay, right, that is God. Let's see if I can get into that state, tap into these vibrations. No, it's not quite right. Obviously, I'm not communicating with God. Or yes, That's bang on. I've nailed it. I'm communicating with God because it's the same as a reference point. Unless you've got a reference point, how could you possibly say if you're in communication with God?
Delusional
Sir, I
or
can
you're
show you.
not.
I can
And
explain
if
it
you're
to you.
stop
Sorry.
interrupting me, Larry, you're either delusional or you're not. And if you're not, you don't just know it because of vibrations. Take the vibrator out of your butt, open your brain, and listen. In order to verify that you're actually getting messages from God, you cannot rely on your own independent feelings.
Sir, I know you don't understand my background, where I'm from, but I'm not a stupid person.
Sir,
And I'm
I
trying
don't
to
un-
explain to you.
All right, let me mute you. I don't know your background, nor do I give a fuck about your background, nor is your background relevant at all. Is there anything about your background that includes a methodology for verifying that someone is actually communicating with a God? Yes or no?
Sir, I can teach you how
Yes
you
or
can do
no?
it. And
Yes or no?
say it again. What's the question?
Is there anything about your personal fucking background that allows you to independently verify?
Bro,
Why
I
are
can
you?
teach
Why are you?
I can show you.
I'm gonna. Okay, dipshit. Now you're on mute. Now you're gonna have to listen. I'm asking you. You say, I don't know your background. You're right. I don't care about your background. You know why? Because you are irrelevant to whether or not there's a God, just as I am irrelevant. My personal background is irrelevant to the case you're making. Your personal background is irrelevant to the case that I'm making. The question that I asked, which I will ask again, is anything about your personal background relevant to the ability to confirm that someone is actually communicating with a God?
Yeah, I mean, even if he was the son of, say, Krishnamurti, and he'd, I don't know, studied Buddhism for 6 years, every single shade of Alan Watts' religion and woo, and he'd studied for years in, say, Tibet, in a monastery there, studying all the meditational methods. It wouldn't really make any difference to any of what he's saying. It wouldn't give him any more credibility.
Yes or no?
Again, it's not about confirming
Yes
whether
or
somebody
no?
else has or not.
Yes or no?
No.
Yes or no?
But it is
Yes or
something
no?
I
Yes or no?
can do.
Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no?
No for knowing if somebody else has, but
you.
yes
Thank you.
to I can
Thank
teach
you.
you how. I
Thank
can
you.
explain how it works.
So if your background isn't relevant, why did you bring it up? I'm not the one being an asshole.
Okay, so he's saying no, he can't tell whether somebody else has communicated with God. Although he did mention a checklist, which I found strange because now he's contradicting himself.
Here, you're the one that is obfuscating and
you're
not
talking to me
engaging
like I'm
honestly.
an idiot. That's why I said
If
that.
you'd stop acting like an idiot, I would stop treating you like one.
You're the one that's yelling and being an asshole. I'm trying to tell you there's a way. I have answers for you. There's things that you
Listen
said in
to
the
me.
past that
Larry, you don't have answers for anyone if you don't have an independently verifiable mechanism. All you have is feelings. Fuck your feelings.
No, it's not about feelings. It's not about
It
that.
is.
It's not.
How do you know
Sir,
which
can I please have
vibration? How do you know? How do you know? How do you know which vibration has anything to do with a God? What is that vibration?
Because all dimensions, what they have in common is dimensional states or vibrational states. And
Goodbye.
Okay, well, that concludes the call. When he started talking about vibrational states, he wasn't really answering the question at all. And Matt really did hit the nail on the head. It's what I was getting at. You would need a reference point which you had already pre-established, proven that a certain vibration was somehow associated with this communication with God. And he hasn't got that reference point. He went straight to talking about vibrational states, etc. And he just doesn't seem to have that possibility to independently verify what he's claiming, which is the same problem that every single theist that's ever been on any of these shows has ever had. And that's why we're still here asking for verifiable evidence. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.